I love the new Krita 4, and especially a lot of the brushes that are great for a painterly kind of appearance, but I have a challenge with respect to basics, just smooth shading. Now, if I use the airbrush with a large diameter, I can come up with a fairly nice shading, fairly smooth. So that's really nice there, so that's good. But if I want it to be more detailed, that's when I run into a problem. So to kind of illustrate that, let me just come to another layer and reduce the size of the brush, and I'm just going to try to have a smooth transition as I go from left to right. And I start off fairly dark, and then I'm just going to let off the pressure, and I try to do that very evenly, and yet I get this banding that comes up, and it's very clearly it's not a smooth transition. So as I make that diameter smaller, it's just very hard to control that. Now I have to go back and forth, and it's just not easy to get a nice smooth transition with the Krita 4 brushes. I don't know of any brush that will allow me to get a nice smooth transition. But if I look at the basic Mix Soft brush from 3, I'm able to do a much better job. So here I'm going to pick up the basic Mix Soft brush, and I will now do the same kind of thing. I start off very dark and then slowly let up to get a nice smooth transition. And so it's much easier to do that. Now, I fully expect that this has a lot to do with my lack of skill compared to the great artists that are out there, but this here makes it easy for beginners to get that nice smooth transition, especially if I'm not necessarily focusing, or maybe I'm not very skilled at painterly type of appearance. So for either less skilled or beginner digital artists that are trying to do shading, that maybe want to have a darker area that moves into and shade into the other colors, the basic Mix Soft brush is really the one that I found the most useful, and so that's why I like that, and I think it would be great if that were part of the Krita 4 set. Of course, I can always use a blending brush, but just in terms of using a single brush, that's what I'm kind of thinking about. So if anybody has any thoughts about this, or other approaches that they are able to get a nice smooth transition as opposed to one with harder edges, if you could let me know, I'd be interested. Thanks.